Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube page, where I'm continuing my Week 17 NFL previews and predictions, previewing every game of Week 17 here, right here on my YouTube channel. I've already previewed several games for this week, so be sure to check out my other videos. Subscribe to my page here on YouTube to get all of my NFL analysis. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff in the offseason with the NFL too, so be sure to subscribe to get all of my sports talk videos delivered directly to your inbox. In a game with two teams playing out the string here, the New York Jets will take on the Buffalo Bills from Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. The Jets come in with a record of 6-9. The Bills with a record of 5-10. Look for both of these teams. Obviously, failed expectations. More so for the Bills. I think there was a thinking the Jets would be right around a 500 team or maybe a little worse this year, which it turned out to be exactly what they are. The Bills, on the other hand, if you go back and read some of the season previews, some of what the pundits and the experts were saying, the Bills were going to be a borderline wild card team, and a lot of places had the Bills slotted in as that one of those wild cards in the AFC, and they've definitely fallen short of expectations. What I'm a little bit surprised at is in the last 2 weeks, it sort of looks like they're not playing with the effort I thought they would. Normally, the Bills start the season strong, have a little bit of a lull, and end the season strong. That's been kind of the pattern they followed over the last 4 or 5 years. And getting throttled by the Seahawks, and then following it up with I think it was an embarrassing loss too last week at Miami against a team they're probably talent-wise equal to, and they just didn't show up in that game either. So, there's been a lot of problems for the Bills. I think their defense obviously was much ballyhooed coming into the season. It just hasn't met expectations. There's really no other way around it. And when you combine that with the fact that, look, Ryan Fitzpatrick is just not a franchise quarterback. I've went over this in these videos, preview videos, time and time before. I think they really sort of put themselves in a bad spot with this Fitzpatrick contract, and it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward here with the quarterback position. One bright spot for the Bills, I feel, is C.J. Spiller. He's gone over 100 yards now, 2 games in a row, and all it's a matter of is getting him the carries and touches he needs. He's a dual threat guy. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run the ball for you. I know Fred Jackson's a good running back. And I think Bills fans like Fred Jackson. I think the organization likes Fred Jackson. But Fred Jackson is not the type of running back C.J. Spiller has the capability to be. And I think if you keep Fred Jackson in that backup role, he can shine in that role too. And I look for next year for them to come out and be more of a run team first. I think they thought I don't know why they thought this, but I got the feeling at the beginning of the year and for most of the year, they were a pass-first team with Fitzpatrick. He doesn't even have many weapons to throw to outside of Stevie Johnson. I thought the strength was in their running game. I think they figured that out the last 2 games. But it's too late now. Their defense is way gone, where even if they establish the run at this point, it does them little good because they're behind so much. But I look for the Bills to make some moves in the offseason, solidify some parts of that defense that need it, and make it now a renewed commitment to the running game and make Fitzpatrick into more of a game manager, which is what I think he needs to be. Because unfortunately, at least next year, he's going to be your quarterback again in Buffalo. In this game in particular, look for Spiller to get the ball early and often, and look for him to do a pretty good job against the Jets defense. The Jets typically play good against Fitzpatrick. They give him fits. You don't know from a motivation standpoint what you're going to get out of either of these teams. I mean, the Jets, for instance, 6-9, coming off a disappointing loss at home last week to the Chargers. Greg McElroy sacked a bunch of times. He has some sort of abdominal injury. They're not sure what the severity of it is. Right now, word is he'll play. Okay? We'll have to monitor that situation, and it'll turn into a circus. Okay, who do the Jets play now that McElroy can't play? It's just a disaster. Tebow came out today and said that he didn't ask out of the Wildcat package last week. Why the national media cares about if a backup quarterback on a 6-8 team last week they were 6-8. Why do they care if a backup quarterback on a 6-8 team asked out of a specialty package on offense is beyond me. But, I'm not a national media producer, and I never have been, and maybe I don't understand how the game works. Maybe it's just about getting clicks and getting clicks on websites and getting people to watch the show. Maybe it's not about covering the stories you need to cover in the league. But regardless, we'll get the Tebow stuff thrown down our throat this week. We'll have to deal with that. The good news is for, I think, the NFL, for its fans, and for Jet fans in particular, Tebow will be off the Jets, probably headed to Jacksonville. And, it remains to be seen. Will this circus follow him to Jacksonville? Who knows? And quite frankly, I'm not really interested in it. The Jets as a whole, some bright spots for them this season has been the play of Muhammad Wilkerson, Quentin Coples, and that defensive line. I think they've been solid this year. Even though they lost Sione Buha for a portion of the season, they accounted for that nicely. Wilkerson is questionable. He's a little bit banged up heading into this week. So Muhammad Wilkerson is a guy who's had a fantastic season. We'll see if he can play here in the season finale. Their secondary, Jets secondary, has been good. I look for them to continue that this week as well. As a whole, though, guys, you just have no idea what you're going to get from either of these teams effort-wise. It's teams that are not really necessarily young. So there's a lot of veteran players on both of these teams. How do they approach this last game? Do they approach it, I'm a professional, I have pride, and I need to play hard? Or do they already have their vacations planned for when they leave the game here to head on a plane and go wherever? You just don't know that, okay? So that's why these Week 17 games with neither team with something to play for are kind of tough to predict. Right now, the Bills are installed as 3.5-point favorites. I don't think the Bills right now should be 3.5-point favorites against anyone, and that's saying a lot, especially since how bad the Jets have played recently. So I'll take the Jets, surely for the fact that I'm getting the 3.5 in this game. So I'll take the Jets plus 3.5 on the road in Buffalo. Good news for both of these fans of both of these teams is that after this game, the season will be over. We can begin looking towards the offseason, NFL draft. I'll be doing draft stuff on here, guys. NFL season reviews of all the teams here. So be sure to check it out. Subscribe to my page here to get all of my videos delivered directly to you. And again, Jets plus 3.5 on the road in Buffalo. Thanks, guys.